I've had the pleasure of making music in a variety of ways throughout most of my life, and so in honor of this holiday season, I kind of want to take some time and reflect on some experiences that I've had that have shaped me as a musician and kind of shaped the way that I view music in general. And really the reason I'm making this video is to kind of point these things out in hopes that maybe something that I share can be of value to you. So let's get into it. So in case you don't know, I would say what started my journey as a musician was being a church musician from the age of probably around 12 years old, and I still am a church musician to this day, as well as being a producer and songwriter and several other things. I just love music. But when I was younger, I was playing in a small church with just a few musicians, and we would kind of just show up on Sunday morning and just do the best that we could with the little time we had. But when I got into high school, I started playing with some more experienced players at a bigger church, and I very quickly realized how much I had to learn. These guys were showing up to midweek rehearsal, with everything learned as if it was go time on Sunday. They knew exactly how to communicate with each other, and they knew exactly how to play without stepping on each other's toes musically. And as I was beginning to play with these guys, I really felt like I was metaphorically falling on my face, embarrassing myself over and over and over again, which really humbled me in a lot of ways. So through this experience, it wasn't only the humility that it brought me that I value, but also the example that came from those experienced players that I still have mad respect for to this day. I shifted my mindset to be in a more consistent pursuit of growth in hopes that one day I could be at the level of these more experienced guys. And so now, probably about 10 years later, I've grown a ton musically, but I'm still in a constant pursuit of growth, always looking for the next thing that I can learn and always seeing what I can take away from the more experienced musicians around me. So yeah, surround yourself with people who are better than you and absorb everything you can. And the next experience was when I went to college for music education, and let me tell you, it was the most incredible learning experience that I had the hardest time caring for at the time. By this point, I had probably been playing piano for about 10 years and was very comfortable playing most anything by ear as long as it was in C, G, or D. And if it was in a different key, I would just press the transpose button, enter in the value, and then I'd be well on my way to playing whatever. But when I was in music college, I had to take this piano class, and it was not near as fun as I expected, because I was having to learn, every single one of my scales, and I was having to unlearn the incorrect finger positions on the piano that I had been practicing with over the past 10 or so years. It was kind of a nightmare. I actually had to drop out of music school after that school year, purely for financial reasons, but I figured that since I was forced to spend all that time working on my scales, it was probably time to cut ties with the transpose button altogether. And as part of this challenge, I decided to see if I could just, take some of the songs I know and then just modulate through all of the keys and see how smoothly I could make it through there. But I believe that this challenge ultimately made me a better musician and helped me to form a deeper understanding of the music I'm playing, even when I'm playing other instruments than piano. And it's easy for me to view music school as a waste of time since I didn't get a degree at Henderson because I had to drop after that year. But this to me is a great example of finding value in the external forces that can kind of push us past we're not willing to go ourselves at times. It's also a reminder that challenge is not only okay, but it's also essential to growing any skill, not even specifically music. Next, I want to mention a friend of mine named James, who was a very formative figure in my late teens and well into my 20s. We used to walk off stage together, and then he would give me feedback on something that I could have done better musically, or maybe something that I said in the mic that didn't go so well when I didn't really ask him for any feedback. And initially this kind of annoyed me because I was kind of thinking, who does this guy think he is? I'm not asking for any feedback. And I think that a lot of that came from my own insecurities and the fact that I was probably thinking negatively about this stuff already, as well as other things which probably were not a big deal. And as I spent more time with James, I realized that he would start asking me stuff like, hey, how do you think that went? Referring to something that he did. Or I'd see him talking to a more experienced speaker or musician, kind of asking them similar stuff. I eventually realized that James really valued feedback and hearing from other people, and so whenever he was giving me feedback, even though I didn't ask for it, it's because, you know, he cared about seeing me grow in my skills, you know, either musically or speaking into a mic or whatever it is. As musicians, it's really easy for us to get comfortable in solitude, and I get it. Music can be a very personal thing, but if we're not seeking out feedback and accepting constructive criticism, we're playing a pretty big guessing game when we're trying to figure out what we need to improve. I believe that even if you're a well-disciplined musician who's in a constant pursuit of growth, you should be seeking out the feedback or constructive criticism of people who can maybe point out some flaws that you're overlooking, or maybe even affirm things that you keep overthinking. If there's one thing I could take away from these experiences, it would be that the key to becoming the greatest musician you can be is to realize that you're not the greatest musician that you can be. So always be looking for opportunities to learn something in even the most unsuspecting places. I'd love to hear some experiences that have informed you as a musician in the comments down below. I think this could be a really cool opportunity to do some self-reflection, as well as share experiences that could be an inspiration of some sort to other people who are reading it. Also, if you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like and subscribing for more stuff like this. As always, thanks for hanging out.